Welcome to Port Royal.
To the casual eye, it may look like nothing more than a sleepy little fishing village, typical of those found throughout the Caribbean. But Port Royal is different. Beneath its waters lies a unique time capsule, a sunken city more than 300 years old.
Port Royal is the most important underwater archaeological site in the Western Hemisphere. There's more history and archaeology down there than 50 or 100 shipwrecks all combined.
The history of Port Royal's sunken city, its legendary rise, its catastrophic fall, and promising rebirth, begins in the middle of the 17th century, when European nations fought over possession of land in the New World. Our story begins in Jamaica. The Arawak Indians called it the land of wood and water. Columbus called it the most beautiful land he had ever seen. Today, the Blue Mountain Island is a thriving center of agriculture and tourism. But back in 1655, when England conquered it, seizing it from Spain, Jamaica became the site of an international conflict, a battle for the riches of the New World.
Jamaica is known for the beautiful beaches and all-inclusive resorts of Negril, Montego Bay and Ocho Rios. You might say it was discovered by pirates.
If I could only step back into the 17th century, I could be walking these streets with the likes of Captain Henry Morgan, the Welsh pirate. And there'd be sounds of debauchery and bawdy humour, and perhaps a few pieces of eight being liberally sprinkled around. Port Royal was considered to be the wickedest city in the world. The island of Examaica was found by Christopher Columbus and renamed Santiago. And then in 1655 it was captured by the British and the city of Port Royal was built. It quickly became a haven for the Caribbean buccaneers who brought all sorts of untold wealth to this city. And then in 1695 there was a great earthquake, and half the city fell into the water, taking with it the treasure of Port Royal. There was a spit of...
Below these waters sits the sunken pirate city of Port Royal, hidden from view for over 300 years. Port Royal is located on the southern shores of Jamaica, on a spit of land near the capital of Kingston. Today, Port Royal is a sleepy fishing village, off the radar for most tourists. Surprisingly, this was once one of the richest cities in the world. Port Royal's heyday was over 300 years ago, when pirates roamed the seas and these streets. They called this small English city home.
If you've seen the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, the first town you go to where we meet Jack Sparrow is Port Royal.
When you think of Port Royal in the middle of the 17th century, you think of pirates. But more so you think of this richest, wickedest place on earth.
Gold, silver. The profits of piracy made Port Royal the ultimate boomtown of the New World, and it quickly became known as the wickedest city on earth.
To most English people at the time, Port Royal was the biblical Sodom and Gomorrah rolled into one. What goes on in Port Royal by way of entertainment is sex and alcohol. It certainly had more bars and brothels than any other city in the whole of the English colonies.
But on June 7th, 1692, disaster struck without warning. A devastating earthquake, followed by a massive tsunami, wiped 2/3 of the city off the map, sending it to the bottom of the sea.
We must unite now. We must have one army. We must have one currency. We must have one foreign policy. We must be united. And I can hear the Osagiefo saying, I do not want to be the leader of that country. I simply want unity. And I'm saying that we must live here with one united government. They listen not to the Osagie.